Well, one of our new gCADPlus users in the United Kingdom is having some difficulty presenting a design in layout space. Let's move to layout space. If they double click here, everything looks fine on this view, and right click and display on layout, and it's working well for me but not for her. And she mentions that she was bringing in a symbol of a standard car and has lost it. If we right click and go zoom extents in model space, you see the result. What's happened is she's brought in the new car symbol and its scale is at a scale of 60. Now that scale must have been indicated as the symbol was coming in. Let's delete it and then zoom extents, view, regen and zoom extents again, and we're back to where we want. So now we can use our floating viewport to move things around and change things. Let's display on the layout, and what I want to do is change the colour of that floating viewport border, and I'd make it 254. The reason for that is that means we can always select the viewport quite easily and change. Let's say with a right click we could move that around and we could change the layers that are displayed in that viewport. Let's return to the model. Another thing I notice is if I select this symbol here, you probably cannot see it, but there's some overlap there. That's a block called scale, but let's delete it, and underneath it is a whole set of other entities. So I'll undo from there, we'll pick the scale block, we'll move it out of the way, pop it here, and then we'll get rid of it. So there's some duplication in this design, and I can then move that scale back. Notice, or you may or may not be able to notice, let me zoom out a bit more, I can move it again, and over here, can you see this handle down here? That block, that scale block, needs to be reworked. That may be a problem in gCADPlus, and I'll check it. It's a block called scale, but its base point isn't quite where we want it to be. We could simply select it, explode it, and wrap a box around it, right click, create a block, and we'll call it, it was scale, we'll call it scale 2, and we'll pick a sensible point there. So we've redefined that block. Now when we pick it up, we can move it nice and easily. The other thing I noticed is that this first layout is on an A4 sheet. If we zoom extents, and line weight is currently on, if I go file and just do a quick check plot, and I'll pick a window and high resolution, and I'll go just outside the floating viewport, and we'll call it A4, I'll overwrite it. And what I hope you'll notice is that the line weights are relatively thick. That's because our default, let me return to gCADPlus, our default line weight setting is 0.25. You might want to make that a little thinner, or perhaps better still, move to an A2 sheet. Now the reason it shows like this is that that large car was there. So let me double click in there, and now I can adjust what we see on the floating viewport in that way, and let's display it on the layout. I will need to copy that block, that title block information, but we'll ignore that just for the moment. I need to come in a little closer and wrap the frame around, display it on the layout. Now let's just print that one, do a quick check print, and we'll click in the area there. Remembering I've not changed the default setting for line weight, but I've changed the sheet size to A2, and what we should see is a better line weight. We're not overwhelming it, so the standard of 0.25 works well here. So if you want it on a smaller sheet, just change the default line weight setting. The way to simply check paper sizes, go into the Layouts Manager and see the second one that I've called A2 is an A2 sheet, and the first one was A4. So I hope that helps straightening out this drawing just a little.